Hey, happy Earth Day, everybody. Jeffrey Michael here, and welcome to a quiet edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. Shall I start off by addressing the elephant in the room, namely this elephant right here, this three switch right here? Well, apparently last week we arranged the furniture in this room. So the couch was originally against that wall over there. Now it's against this wall, the opposite wall. And it's always good to make a change up every now and then, am I right? But you know what? Just because the location has changed, it doesn't mean that the quality of my videos has changed. So here we go. In this video, I will be reviewing the movies that were released on April the 6th, 2018. So the first movie that I will review for you is Blockers, or Cock Blockers, depending on who you're asking. I mean, the movie poster has a picture of a cock or a rooster, so I'm assuming it means cock blockers, but the censors wouldn't allow that, so we'll just say Blockers, rated R. It stars John Cena, Leslie Mann, and Ike Barinholtz, and is the directorial debut of Kay Cannon. She was the screenwriter for such films as Pitch Perfect 1, 2, and 3. So, Blockers, or Cock Blockers, is about three girls who meet for the first time on the first day of school. And their three parents meet each other too. Those three parents are Mitchell, played by John Cena, Lisa, played by Leslie Mann, and Hunter, played by Ike Barinholtz. And those three girls, they become the best of friends throughout school, and those three parents become the best of friends too, and as a result. And the years go by, they drift apart, they get together, and then the movie picks up during the girls' senior year. They're about to go to prom, and one of the friends is like, "You guys, guess what? I'm gonna lose my virginity to my boyfriend tonight." And the one girl's like, "You want to join me?" she says. And the one friend's like, okay, I got this guy in chemistry class. I like I'll do with him. And the third friend's like, "Oh, well, I guess I'll go with you guys, And she's like, not sure because she's struggling with her sexuality at the time. And so they all agree to make a sex pact, lose their virginity on prom night. And as they're leaving in their limo for prom, they're texting each other. And one of the girls, she left her computer open at home. And you know how when you text, it shows up on your computer? Well, the mom, Lisa, sees the computer, and she's like, "You guys, come over here, Mitchell, Hunter." And they see that the girls, they're planning a sex pact. They're too young. They don't understand about losing your virginity. Ugh, let's go cockblock those mother effers. And the whole movie it's hilarious from there. I mean, at one point, Lisa is, hot rodding, a la Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious. And Mitchell, losing a bet, has to butt chuck. That's an actual thing. Did you know that? Yeah. And it's just hilarious hijinks ensue. And the girls are constantly trying to get away from their parents when they get word of what they're trying to do. And, it all comes to a head at one point. And, that's pretty much the whole movie there. They're trying to lose their virginity and the parents are trying to stop them. But actually, it's a really good, I thought, overall funny movie. And actually, it felt like two movies in one. And I'll tell you why. The first movie, I thought, was telling the story of these girls. It shows that they're girls and they just want to have fun, have sex. I mean, I thought that was a really refreshing idea because how many movies have we seen over the years, like 80s sex comedies or American Pie, where there's a group of guy friends who are trying to lose their virginity during high school? I mean, you never see a movie where the girls' friends are talking about losing their virginity. I thought that was a really, nice, refreshing idea. And also, they learn, why they want to do, each one of them wants to do it, and how each of them have their own, problems or, things that they're suffering internally. And I thought that's a good opportunity to see inside a teenager's minds. I thought the movie did a good job there. And the other movie was these parents and their hijinks, trying to do everything they can to put a stop to them, and they crash their car, and they, like I said, butt chuck and all these other hilarious parts. And so it feels a little like yin and yang, like two movies mushed together. So it felt a little disjointed at times. But it does a great job though of showing the daughter and parent relationship. And I would love that there was a point in the movie where they actually slowed down on the jokes and actually took a time where one of the parents talks to their daughter, one-on-one. And we actually get to the deep meaning, like a lot of, humanity comes out of there, and the characters are humanized, and we actually see a great daughter-parent relationship develop, and, their fears and everything that they're worried about. And I thought that the movie did a great job there, like really creating actual characters. And so, I mean, there are some parts were not as funny as I hoped, but there are some really hilarious parts, like I mentioned. So overall, this movie, I would give it a B. I thought it had some really great new ideas and great idea of developing a great story and characters. I just thought maybe, the entertainment-wise, it could have used a few more laughs or, more heart in there. But overall, I had a really good time with this movie. And so if any of you are thinking of losing your movie virginity for the first time, you can go ahead and see this one. If you're in for that kind of comedy. Anyway, moving on. So the next movie that I will review is A Quiet Place, rated PG-13. It stars John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, and was also directed by John Krasinski as well. He already brought you such films as Brief Interviews with Hideous Men and The Hollers. I mean, he's not just Jim from The Office, he's also a director now as well. I mean, what can he do? Anyway, so A Quiet Place takes place in the near future in the year 2020. A couple months before the movie begins, we find out that extraterrestrial aliens, I think they're aliens, came down to Earth and have almost decimated the entire human population. And we don't get to see these aliens, too well because they're always in the shadows. But they look like that resembles if a spider and a crab had a love child, and that love child was like the size of a small car. Well, then there you go. And we find out the movie's about the Abbott family. There's husband and father Lee, played by John Krasinski, and his wife Evelyn, played by Emily Blunt, and their kids, teenage deaf daughter Regan, and their sons Marcus and Bo. In the opening scene, which is quiet, by the way, no noise, the family is in a deserted small town scavenging for food and supplies. And, we find out, why they're quiet pretty quickly because these aliens are blind. And the way that they hunt, they use supersonic hearing. They from miles away, they can hear the slightest sound, and immediately they come running at super speed, to hunt whatever it is they hear. And so as a result, little boy Bo wants to take him a little toy engine, and the father's like, no noise, So they are walking back to their farmhouse where they're keeping safe, from the attacks. And all of a sudden that boy, took the engine with him, turns it on, and they see from out of the shadows of the trees, the aliens coming, and you know what's happening. Let's just say, no spoilers, not everyone comes out of that alive. So the movie picks up a couple months later, several days later, according to the bottom of the screen, and the family's still reeling from, that encounter. And they're all still trying to do the best they can to survive. They get their food, they clean their clothes, they play games, and they all the time they're trying to stay quiet, not to track any aliens. And the father is constantly trying to, send radio signals out, to see if there's anyone out there, anyone at all who can help us. And you just, you go from there with the rest of the movie. Can I just say, this movie I thought was one of the most effective of its genre that I've seen in quite a while. I mean, wow. It is suspenseful. It's pulse pounding. When there's so much, the movie's quiet most of the movie, and when you're faced with a lot of quiet, you're just on the edge of your seat. You're like, okay, well, what's happening? Is something gonna pop out right there? It's too quiet. Please, something making some noise. It keeps you on edge, like for most movie, and I was surprised because I'm the kind of person who I've seen every horror movie ever, and so I never get scared ever. But when a movie gives me serious goosebumps, that's when I know, wow, this is a winner right here. And the acting is great from everyone around. And, Emily Blunt at one point says, if we can't protect our children, what kind of parents are we? And you think, wow, she's so good. And so is, her husband. He does a great job, acting and directing this movie. And I thought it was really inspiring that they hired a deaf actress to play their daughter. And, because, throughout the movie, she can't hear a thing, so she relies on them. And she's also there to teach them, sign language. They sign throughout the movie. And it's a great overall suspenseful film. A couple quibbles, though. There's no obvious end game. A lot of people complained about the ending. They're disappointed by it. And I can understand that. It kind of, ends abruptly. But I do like that they went with a less cliche ending. It could have been all cliche, but they didn't. So I like that part. But I can understand why people would be frustrated by that. Also, the mother is pregnant and about to give birth, and you're wondering, did they allow that to happen? Newborns cry a lot. It's kind of a plot hole there. That's not really explained why they decided to have a kid. But anyway, minor things, because overall, this was a great, suspenseful, pulse-pounding, edge-of-your-seat thriller, and I actually hope that they make another one, in the near future. Overall, I give this one an A-. I think this is probably my favorite movie released in all of the month of April. So if you're going to see one movie from the month of April, just one movie, then let it be this one, please. I don't think there's any other movie released in April compares. So A Quiet Place, please. Just exit quietly from your house and get to the movie theater quickly. So Okay, the last movie that I saw from April the 6th was The Miracle Season, rated PG. It stars Aaron Moriarty, Helen Hunt, and William Hurt, and was directed by Sean McNamara, who also brought you such films as Raise Your Voice, Bratz, and Soul Surfer. So, The Miracle Season is based on the true life story of the 2011 Iowa City West High School girls volleyball team in Iowa City, Iowa. Their coach was Kathy Bresnahan, played by Helen Hunt, and their captain was Caroline Found. She was known as Line to everybody. So Line is one of those people who you just can't help but love because she's always so happy and so positive. You're fabulous. No, wait, you're fabulous. No, you know what? You're all fabulous. So give all yourselves a hug. You're all great. I mean, she's like that constantly, never ending. It's like, oh my gosh, there can be too much positivity. I mean, her mother in the movie is also has terminal cancer, and she goes to visit her in the hospital. You know what? You're going to show up my graduation and my wedding. You're going to be fine. It's like, oh my gosh, you're allowed to be sad, at least once. I mean, that kind of person can aggravate me. So anyway, the movie starts off, the girls volleyball team loses their first match. Don't worry, team. We'll win the next one and the next one. We're still fabulous. And there's her co-captain, her best friend Kelly, who she's known her whole life, played by Aaron Moriarty. And they all have a party that night, and they all celebrate. And then Line leaves all happy and perky again that night on her Vespa. And then throughout the night, tragedy strikes. The police show up at her father's house, played by William Hurt, and inform her Line was involved in an accident. She's gone. And then everyone learns, and everyone's all sad, the whole community, because everyone loved Line. And her mother, who is already, terminal cancer, she passes not long after. And so William, the father, is just heartbroken to lose two loves of his life and, so close together. And from there, the team, is always crying and heartbroken. How are we going to move on? And then the coach thought, hey, guys, you know what? Line would not have any of this. She would want you all to stop, crying over her and, focus on winning. She would want that. And throughout the rest of the movie, they all work together to make sure that they win all their matches and go on to the state championship. Now, will they win the state championship? Well, let's see. It's based on a true life story, and the movie's called The Miracle Season. Who would think? Anyway, overall, I mean, this is the kind of story that's, good movies telling because it's based on a true story and it's uplifting and, it's a, underdog story. But I have to say, though, the problem I had with this movie, though, was the execution of it. I felt like they were trying way too hard to be emotionally manipulative. And I hate those kind of movies. I mean, instead of going for like emotional uplift, they went for aggressive maudlin storytelling. It's like, okay, we're going to have this scene where all the girls are crying aggressively, trying to practice. And then one girl says, I can't take it, and runs off, crying. And it's like, okay, now you cry, audience. And it's like, how about you guys just tell the story and then I'll decide when I want to cry. Oh, no, you're crying right now. You're going to cry over these girls crying in this funeral. And they try way too hard to be emotional. And it's such a lack of subtlety. I kind of wish that they would just tell the story and then let us decide, if we're going to, be emotional. And also because they do that so much, they kind of, forget about character development. I mean, a lot of the characters go undeveloped. I mean, at the end of the movie, I couldn't tell you any of the volleyball team's, girls' names at all. I mean, they didn't really focus too much on them. And, like, for example, this is a above average movie, I thought. It's very uplifting and, it's a good underdog story, to keep on living even though one of your, loves has died. You just keep on living. The motto in the movie is live like Line. I mean, that was actually the original title of the movie. Live like Line. That's the motto that they used to get through all their matches. And overall, I would give this movie, I think, a C+. I mean, I would have grade higher if they actually tried to, go for a more earnest, authentic storytelling. I mean, the heart was in the right place. I just think they tried too hard to play with your emotions and, just tell the story and just let us, let it flow naturally. Don't try so hard. I think that was the moral they should have gone with. And would I recommend you see this? If you want to see a nice, uplifting story, go ahead. You probably enjoy it, but don't expect a groundbreaking film as all. Moving on. Hey guys, it's time for the recap. Recap. Blockers. B. Raunchy yet earnest comedy with well-developed characters and parent-daughter relationships. Oh, and butt-chucking. See it. A Quiet Place. A-. A suspenseful, pulse-pounding thriller with great acting, great directing, and genuine scares. My number one recommendation all the month of April. Please see this one. And finally, The Miracle Season, C+. A nice sports underdog story, let down by emotionally manipulative execution. You can see it if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it. And that'll do it for another quiet edition of Jeffrey Michael's Movie Reviews Extravaganza. Until next time, happy movie watching, everybody.